you guys. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Let's see who's in here. We're going to get started here. This should be starting in 14 minutes. We shall see. We shall see. Hold on, I got to finish texting Ariel. Okay. I guess they finally decided to put this on their YouTube channel because I'm going to show you guys this real quick. I went last night to try to just like make sure I knew where it was going to be playing. And I went into a constant cycle of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because they didn't decide just yet. I guess they didn't decide until this morning. So I'm going to show you what I recorded because it literally just like sent me in loops. Let me show you all this real quick, just because I find it hilarious. Hold on. Okay. So I went here, clicked it, and it went to YouTube. So then I clicked on the post because it literally says, we're not doing this on YouTube anymore. It's going to be at this website as of April the 9th, which we know that. We've already watched a hearing this way. And it routes back to this and says it's on YouTube. But then it routes back to this and says it's not on YouTube. So it took me a second to be like, okay, where is it? Where is it? I don't understand where it's at. So we're going to sit here until it starts. Let's see who's all in here. We have a few minutes before we even need to like get me off the screen here. Now, again, closed and open. I don't know if they are literally starting at 12:30 and going to have hours of closed sessions and then do something at the end that's open, or if they're going to if they've already done the closed stuff and at 12:30 is whenever they think they're going to be done with the closed stuff and then it's going to open at 12:30. I don't know. I don't think anybody actually knows exactly the way that it's going to go. So, yeah, we're just going to like keep this open from 12:30 on until it's over. So let's see who all is in here. Hello, Loretta. Welcome back to the memberships, Lori. Hey there, Richard. How you doing? Hey, Specs. Mama D, how you doing? Angie, welcome, welcome, welcome. Don't forget, members that are members only live for June will be June the 30th. I'll have a thing up about that soon. Hey, Jen. Oh, we have a court is beginning soon. We got 12 minutes. 12 minutes to go time. So at least this kind of tells me they're sort of like on track here a little bit here. Hey there, Susie. How you doing? Hey there, Dawn. I think look, there's so many people on Reddit complaining about the problem. So, and these aren't people with me, like me. These are people that get over like 1 million views per short. They have over 100,000 subscribers, and they're all over there being like, what is happening? So I know for a fact that I'm not the only one that has been in the IT people's emails, because we have access for that kind of thing in the back end here, telling them what the hell, what's going on. So maybe they're fixing something. I know that I just saw a video from TubeBuddy. If you're a creator, you know what that is. They apparently got like a leak of a new update that's coming with the way that YouTube is going to be testing certain things in their videos. And I think that my videos already got like a taste of this new update. My sponsored Raycon video tanked. No, it's like not even touching the algorithm. And I don't know exactly what's going on with that. I don't know if it's because of there's certain situations I was literally said not to even mention in the sponsored video. So I guess until I get the go ahead to actually say these things, I'm going to just leave that there. There's a very big court case going on right now that has an association with somebody who might have an association with Raycon. So I thought that maybe there was some sort of like flag, all red, stop whenever it comes to anything associated with these people. And that was the problem. The weird part is that I went in and I took like all of my links and stuff out of the description box. I changed the title, the tags, the thumbnail. I did all kinds of things. And I would wake up the next morning and it was all changed. It did it like twice. I even contacted my buddy because he's like in this field of like that kind of stuff. And he's like, that's a bit strange, but not really. I don't know. Turns out that's the new thing that YouTube is doing is they're going in and they're doing these testings where they change the thumbnails, they change your tags, they change your they change your title, they change your description things, they change your settings. It's like this just AI testing stuff. So they apparently were doing it on a couple of channels before the update came out, but there's like constant updates. And it's not just updates with YouTube, it's updates with Google itself, because I had a bunch of people also claiming on Reddit that small businesses that also use Google Ads since this algorithm update were suffering horribly because these small businesses will pay, I don't even know how much money to be put on the top of the Google results. and to not be bled out completely by the big corporate names that pop up first, and even they were having problems. So hopefully that all fixed, and that's why you guys are finally getting y'all's notifications. Hey, Jen and James, how you guys doing? The States, how you doing? Hey, Villainous Cupcake, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, Karen Townsend. Hey, Sadie. Nasia, how you doing? Proud Parrot, how you doing? Hey, Justice for Kilo. Hey, Shannon, how you doing? Hey, Geeking Me Out. I know. I know there's going to be a lot of people going back and forth today. What other one are you going in? What other one are, I don't know what that means. At 12, this is supposed to start in like 9 minutes. We'll see what happens. Yeah, here we go. It's going to be in a few minutes here. We're just waiting. Hey, Keisha, how you doing? Hey, Erica. Hey, Angie. I don't know if I said hi already, Michelle, but hey. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Simply Solo. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Mr. Naysayer. 2 phones watching 2 court cases. Yeah, because isn't the Karen Reed verdict today? Yeah, that's going to be interesting, especially since this is the second time around. Hey there, Elizabeth. Yeah, I'm literally going to be over here like grocery shopping and doing the bill budget while listening to this and doing a couple other things over here in my emails. So yeah, it's going to be definitely a multitasking kind of day. Hey, I've got something to say. Hey, Only in Detroit, how you doing? MDP, hey. Hey, Don, how you doing? Hey, my miniatures and me. That's kind of cool. Hey, Bridget. Hey, Mark. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Danny. Hey, Karen. Hey, Lashy. Hey, Terry. Hey, Vivian. Hey, Danielle. I know they do. They love to make us wait. Masath had to be in federal court this morning. This is why the court is starting at 12:30. I think she wanted to start closer to 1. Oh, yeah? Masath gets into some serious stuff. I know she's the only one that's ever been in front of Judge Hippler before, too. Hey, Aussie. How you doing? Hey, Corinne. Hey, Angie. Hey, Allison. Hey, Taya. Hey, Tracy again. How you doing? Hey, Sydney. Yeah, I slipped into that Birdie guy's live for a second last night because somebody had left a comment already saying that somehow or another he'd been able to contact and talk to that William 127 dude. According to this Birdie guy, William is not the one who took his videos down. I think that the people, the fat, bald idiots that he complained about in his video probably had their cult followers go and like massively report his video. They're good at that. So that's probably exactly what the frick happened there. That's probably literally what happened there. Hey there, Lena Marie. How you doing? Hey, Stephanie. I don't know, actually. There's like one more set for July, but I don't know. I think that might be for jury stuff. I'm not really quite, I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that they decided to start this one so late, especially now that we do have like the closed and the open. Hey there, Dixie. Hey, Raining Rebecca, how you doing? Hey, Deb. Hey, Gail. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Now, there's a document. I did a community post that we finally have a non-sealed document, but it's just the defense's response to the state not wanting to stay the trial. I just put the link out because it wasn't there yesterday. It was there this morning. And I mean, they're going to be arguing. See, they're going to be arguing this exact same thing today. So there was just no reason for me to even bother trying to do a video, do anything. Because by the time I sat down at my computer, it was already after 12. And I was like, yeah, I can just be mentioned because we're going to hear this argument. So there's the link. If you guys want to go and take a look at that one real quick. So we'll see what they have to say about everything. Hey there, Gina. I get badly written translated titles in Dutch now. Wow. Yeah, they had this auto dubbing thing. Is it auto dubbing? Yeah. Auto dubbing thing in one of their other updates, like one of their more recent updates. And if the auto dub was on and you like wanted to go in and edit something out, like if a fact became no longer a fact, or if there was something that changed and you needed to go into a video that was already posted in the analytics and the editor in YouTube, if your auto dubbing was on, it wouldn't allow you to edit. So I had to go in and turn off the auto dubbing, and the auto dubbing allows you to be seen by people that speak different languages. I'll let that go. I just won't be seen by those people because it takes away my ability to make sure that my videos are accurate because I can't go in and delete things that are no longer relevant. And I don't appreciate that. So I don't use it. It just stays. My English people, the people that understand the words coming out my mouth, how they come out my mouth, are the only ones that are ever going to be able to apparently see my videos, which, you know what, whatever it is, whatever. Hey there, craft your way to peace. People really can. You really can craft your way to peace. I know that for a fact. Hey there, Cammie. How you doing? Hey, Mary. Hey, Culture Clash. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Hey, Terry. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Sudie. Hey, Jamie. Okay, I've got like 4 minutes to tell you guys hi. We're not going to hear hopefully anything. Not hopefully anything. I want to hear everything. I don't think they're going to tell us any specifics about that leak until they know exactly who it was, unless they have that information already and they're waiting for this to tell us. Probably not. Wishful thinking. But I just don't think we're going to hear anything. Hey, Tara. Yeah, they really want, hey, JS, they really want, I mean, I feel like they should want to have all the answers before they come out and like saying anything. Yeah, it's verdict watch. It's verdict watch for Karen Reed. I love earbuds in at the office. I have earbuds in at the office. Yeah, like I know there's probably a lot of people literally in their cubicles and at the office and at work right now sitting there being like, cover the ear because everybody wants to see what's going on. Hey, Miss Match, how you doing? What was the channel name for the green Elantra? True Crime X. He actually emailed me and said he couldn't log in. He went to go log in and his login was gone. He can still see that the channel is on there. Like I can see his comments are still on my videos, but the last email I got from him, all of a sudden his login wasn't working. So there's that. And I know that some people are saying, this is the information that came out before. I mean, it could have been. I just know the very specific information that he's giving me is something very specific to the way that the license plate and the paint on the license plate does things. And the way that he was able to figure that portion out and put it into the AI and have the AI validate that that's what it sees because it can see things differently than us and do the comparisons that we can't make. That's where I feel like it might be different. I don't know if that's as far as the rest of them went. I know that they're in, oh, yeah, there's a plate. Okay, we can see it, but let's go a step further. And that's what I feel like this guy did is he went a step further, which is why, like I said, that video is probably going to come out tomorrow. My going over what he sent me, not all of it, but going over the majority of it because it's really impressive and it's important. And especially since it's now taking a step further to where, oh, it's not just people's eyes that might see something and now we see something we might be able to compare. No, there's something very specific. Something very specific, especially when it comes to the gold flake and the paint that's used on the license plates. It's very, 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 very specific. And again, I don't know if that's what they've been talking about on those other videos. I just know that that's what got my attention. And it just is what it is with that one. Thank you for the $3, Linda. I very much appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I got about one more minute, and then I'm going to take my face off of this thing so we don't miss anything. Hey there, Laura. Hey there, Louise. Beauty for Ashes. How you doing? Yeah, just FYI. Okay, this is on the most conservative setting possible for ads. Okay, I don't know what that means for YouTube. There's only 3 settings. Okay, conservative, balanced, and then like whichever one is going to piss everybody off to make them turn off your live stream because literally every 30 seconds a freaking ad is going to pop up. I am a skip ad advocate. Please do not waste time, this precious limited time we have on this planet, watching the full ad. Please don't. Please skip the ad. Please skip the ad. Please skip the ad. Okay, I'm going to get off of here. I feel like you've been a member before, so I'm just going to say welcome back, Grandma W. I'm going to go ahead and get down so that we don't have anything missing. I'm taking my face away and making this full screen, so I will be down in the chat. 8 months shenanigans. Ah, you guys are great. Okay, I'll be in the Okay, I'll sit here. Yes, you don't know you're visible. We don't have anything yet because it hasn't started. We don't have anything. We're waiting. I'll sit here for a second because I don't like to sit in here either. I don't like to sit in here either. Let's see if I can make myself bigger. I mean, smaller. What in the frick frack? I just put somebody else up there. Can I make this bigger? You know what? It's fine. Yeah, well, I'll just sit here for a second. I don't like just sitting here either. Yeah, we're waiting. We're just waiting. We're just waiting. I know. There's a lot of people that were saying that on Twitter. They're like, dang, we got this at the same time. Yeah, we'll see what's going on. Skip it. Skip everything. Skip everything. I know. Silence. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I'm hoping that we get some good information. Did you really? Did you really? I don't have a notification. I also never get notifications on my phone. Like literally ever. Let me look. Oh my gosh, it's gonna take. Yeah, I'm back. I don't think they're just now looking for it. I'm pretty positive they've been trying to. Oh, of course, I open the app and then I get a notification like it was stuck. Oh, well, thank you for the $5, Gail. I appreciate it, and I will because I have to go grocery shopping later. And you know, damn straight, I'm going to stop and get my coffee. The horrible thing about the town that I live in, I mean, I love that it's like low, slow, no stress. What? They announced that they had a verdict and then they said, never mind. Wow. Karen Reed's trial has got to be driving y'all literally insane. Literally insane. Anyway, I have no coffee shops, which makes me really sad because I came from an area that had 4 Starbucks, which I hate Starbucks, but they had 4 Starbucks in a block radius. Like the town that I moved here from had a Target right here with a Starbucks in it, a standalone Starbucks literally across the street, and then a Kroger across from that with a Starbucks in it. And then across from that was a big, huge HEB that had like a Scooters coffee place. The light back had a Dutch Bros. And then the next town over had a Dutch Bros, a Scooters, and 3 other Starbucks. I came from Coffee Central to no place ever. I think I've mentioned that before, how it makes me want to open a coffee shop. Where I go to get my coffee now is just straight at McDonald's. And they know me because when I pull up, I always get 3 shots of espresso. And so they just know. They just know at this point that's what I'm doing. Yeah, no, ever since I found out that Starbucks made the 9/11 people buy bottled water to get ashes and body parts off of them, I don't support that company. I don't support that company. I actually really wish I would have known that a lot sooner than I did because I did spend a lot of money on Starbucks before I knew that. Yeah. I can't support that. Can't support that. I mean, I have my coffee. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Right? Right? Oh, I love Dutch Bros. My hometown, Kerrville, finally got a Dutch Bros. It's like the only cold coffee that my dad, I'll say it again in a second, that my dad's ever had, and he absolutely loves Dutch Bros. I actually have a Dutch Bros sticker on the back of my car that's like a pumpkin with the glow-in-the-dark little windmill. I put it on there for Kaylee because Kaylee used to work at a Dutch Bros. Starbucks during 9/11, when people were literally freaking out, their eyes were bleeding from all the ashes and everything that was in their faces, their body parts of their employees were literally covering them. Starbucks did not allow them to just come in there and get water and clean their faces, clean their hands, get the ashes off them. They were charging people covered in soot and ash for water. It is free information. Google it. Google it. It's there. I will never forgive Starbucks for that. After hearing that, I was done. See, I didn't know about Dutch Bros until 2023. It showed up in the town I lived in a few months before we left, and we instantly fell in love. And there was never a single time we had 2. I lived in the middle of 2 really decently sized towns right outside of Fort Worth, and literally they both.
Hitler presiding. Proceeded.
All right, this is CR 0124316665, State v. Kohberger. On behalf of the state, we have Mr. Thompson and Mr. Horwick. And on behalf of, I should note the defendant is present with counsel, Ms. Taylor, Ms. Massoff, and Ms. Barlow. This is the time set for, or at least the public portion of today's hearing is set for the motion to continue the trial filed by the defense. So we'll start with that.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Your Honor, our motion to continue has been filed and is necessary to protect Bryan Kohberger's rights under the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the State of Idaho. Specifically, a continuance is necessary to protect his due process rights, his rights to a fair trial, his rights to effective assistance of counsel, rights to confrontation, Mr. Kohberger's right to present a full defense, and if it should come to it, a fair sentencing hearing and to be free of cruel and unusual punishment. The record of this case spans 2.5 years, and it shows that this request does not come as a surprise. Looking through the history of this case shows that the defense has met challenges and difficulties along the way, but has been dedicated in meeting all of the deadlines. We have talked about the discovery issues in this courtroom before, and that in large part brings us to need a continuance. 68 terabytes of information is a huge amount of information. There have been 23 requests for additional discovery over the span of 2.5 years and 7 motions to compel. When I say that this doesn't come as a surprise, that this comes from the record, I would direct the court to look back to May of 2023 and June of 2023 and our second motion to compel. Included in that was what was known as Exhibit A from the defense, and that depicted how we were receiving discovery. So this is not a new issue. This is something that's been coming up for a long time. We were receiving discovery, but it was such that you would get a file that would say hundreds of photographs, hundreds of pages of reports, each having to be looked at individually to know what was there and then organized. This case has also faced unique issues, starting with the media coverage of this high-profile case, non-dissemination orders that were addressed in courts, and then the grand jury materials that we had to fight to get access to before we could properly challenge the grand jury indictment. We faced issues with discovery, particularly with the IGG materials. We spent a great deal of time trying to get access to those materials. Those were ultimately what we could get, was ultimately presented in a motion to suppress, and that's preserved should there be a conviction in this case. We faced venue issues in this case, culminating in the change of venue and bringing us to Ada County. At the first hearing in this courtroom, we discussed the discovery issues and not having read everything and being ready with a full investigation in this case. That was apparent through our motions to strike the death penalty, our motions to compel expert disclosures filed in September and December of 2024, and requests for more time to file our motions in limine that was granted in January of 2025. Throughout the course of the motions in limine and then a motion to strike death based on discovery issues in February and March of this year, the record is replete with notice that we are not prepared to go to trial in this case. The discovery is vast and we have not had a chance to review it all. That we met deadlines for experts shows our dedication to comply with court orders. It does not depict effective counsel ready to go to trial on this case. We would submit that it's the court's responsibility to assess this motion to continue with heightened due process that's required in death penalty cases. The death penalty case is different. That comes from Ford versus Wainwright at 477 U.S. 399 at 411. The court must be sensitive to safeguard every avenue of due process. The Idaho Supreme Court said the qualitative difference between death and other penalties calls for a greater degree of reliability when death is imposed, and that comes from State versus Creech, 105 Idaho, 362 at 383. Looking at all of the constitutional rights Mr. Kohberger has. Effective assistance of counsel really becomes the crux of how all of these other rights are covered for Mr. Kohberger. And effective assistance of counsel applies both to the merits phase and the penalty phase of a death penalty case. The courts are guided and counsel is guided by the American Bar Association guidelines on capital cases. Wiggins versus Smith, 539 U.S. 510 at 524, said the ABA guidelines are guides to determine what is reasonable. And that's talking about reasonable performance by defense counsel in a capital case. The Ninth Circuit in Andrews versus Davis at 944 F3D 1092 at 1109 relies on the ABA guidelines as the proper measure to test an attorney's investigation. In Idaho, our public defender statutes reference the ABA guidelines as applying to indigent defense. These apply to the full investigation of the merits phase and require us to raise all legal claims. They require us to perform a background on all witnesses that might be called, especially those being called by the state. That means that we have to review all discovery to be able to present a full defense for Mr. Kohberger. We cannot present what we are not aware of. I would note for the court that discovery has been ongoing. I received discovery just this week. It is discovery that I have not reviewed yet. Considering what's required at a penalty phase in a capital case, we're required to perform in a way that the jury can carry out their function of individualized sentencing. That means that Mr. Kohberger's background has to be known and investigated and ready to present to the jurors. Evidence of his character has to be known and ready to present to the jurors, and his circumstances have to be known and ready to present to the jurors. That's addressed in the Woodson case and in the Lockett case. The jury must have the opportunity to consider all evidence that may weigh against the death penalty, and that means anything from his life history. It is the duty of the defense to find and investigate all mitigating information. We do have several experts that would be ready for the mitigation portion of the case, should the case reach that phase, and they rely on understanding family history and Mr. Kohberger's own history. They can only understand what they've been presented, and the investigation to fully evaluate needs to be thorough. That means that records have to be collected. That means that interviews, collateral interviews have to be done, and those have not all been completed. And it's not because of a lack of diligence in this case. Further, when things that are noted as red flags arise, those things must be investigated. Red flags aren't fanciful ideas of what else could we do in this case. They're real things that come up in the course of the investigation, and whether or not they're important to mitigation and presentation for a jury's consideration requires time to investigate and collect records. Documentation is very important. The court's aware that red flags have come up and they require further investigation. Those are issues that may mean a lot to the experts that would be ready to testify, but they can't be presented until there's a full investigation. They are things that might change the course of the evaluation or might require us to have an additional expert to help explain certain circumstances. And that's important for the individualized sentencing that's required by the Constitution. Your Honor, there have been numerous challenges with gathering records and interviewing collateral witnesses. I know the court is aware of some of those particular issues. I'm not going to highlight them now, but it's imperative that we be able to collect records and conduct interviews from other family members besides just Mr. Kohberger and his parents. And it's also imperative that his history be complete with educational records, medical records, and those things are still being done to this day. The other reason that a continuance is appropriate in this case is based on the media coverage, the Dateline issue that has been talked about in this courtroom before, and what's yet to come. The Dateline episode wasn't just a one-time deal back in May. That continues to be talked about. Everything that happens in this case continues to be talked about, and this court has a duty, a responsibility to make sure that Mr. Kohberger receives a fair trial. That comes from Shepard versus Maxwell, 384 U.S. 333. And a continuance may be the way that the court can best protect Mr. Kohberger. That comes from Patton versus Yount, 467 U.S. 1025. In addition to what is going on with what happened with the Dateline episode, that's not all. There's a book set to be released just a few weeks from now to be followed by a docuseries on Amazon Prime. There's a claim that there's inside sources that provide information in this case. At the very least, the moment we start attempting to select a jury in this case, those things are going to be on everybody's TV, everybody's social media feed, and some of the very witnesses that will be expected to testify will be taking part in the docuseries at least, and may be noted in the book. That is, in and of itself, an exceptional reason for us to have a continuance to let those things play out for a while. I would also note, Your Honor, that jury selection is going to be particularly challenged and will need a great deal of time based on what's happened in the media and continues to happen. Your Honor, our request is for a continuance in this matter to allow us to be effective and perform our constitutional duty for Mr. Kohberger, to protect his constitutional rights, to make sure that we have fully investigated all mitigating circumstances so the jury, if it comes to it, can perform their individualized sentencing, judgment, and function, and to allow some space between what's recently happened in the media. Thank you.
May I, Your Honor?
Of course.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will, I think, address Ms. Taylor's argument sort of in the reverse order in which she raised the issues that she raised. I want to begin, though, by bringing us and the court back to what the standard is for this motion to continue as opposed to what might happen after a conviction with respect to ineffective assistance of counsel. Right now, the standard is whether denying a continuance would violate the defendant's rights by causing unfair prejudice. And that is an objective standard that the court has, and the court has discretion on all motions to continue, including a motion to continue in a case such as this that involves the death penalty. What the defendant and counsel are asking the court to do is delay this trial because of their subjective, prospective beliefs about how an ineffective assistance of counsel evaluation would happen by an appeals court if there is a conviction. What this court should do is use its discretion and look at the objective record. The record supports denying the motion based on what the defense has been doing, continues to do, and will continue to do through the mitigation phase until the penalty phase, including presenting mitigation evidence that the jury will ultimately decide about if there is a conviction. The lens that the court should look at is well stated, through which the court should look at this motion is well stated in some Idaho case law and others. And if I can turn on the Elmo, do I need to hit this button, Your Honor?
And Clark needs to switch it over.
Okay, thank you. So So these are cases that we cited in our brief, and I wanted to start my discussion with them. I'll read the top case, which is an Idaho Supreme Court case, evaluating whether counsel was effective in a death penalty case. Counsel was not required to investigate defendant's entire life in order to objectively and reasonably present mitigation evidence. And then I like the way that the Seventh Circuit sort of rephrased the same principle by saying, I won't read the entire quote, Your Honor, but a scorch the earth strategy is not required. We're in a standard of reasonableness. And the record that is before the court, and I'll acknowledge we have not seen what specifics, if any, the defense has put forward in its ex parte filing.
It's kind of hard for you, I recognize.
It does, but we have not seen specifics. I did not hear any specifics from counsel just now about these witnesses need to be contacted, these records need to be obtained. And then the court, I think, mentioned at prior hearing we had when this was motion to continue was first raised, that the court would be looking at what admissible evidence the defense needs to obtain and what strategies would actually be used to fruitfully obtain that evidence. And we don't have anything specific that we can respond to about that. So I'm at a bit of a disadvantage, Your Honor, but I think the record that we do have shows that the court can use its discretion to deny this motion to continue. What we did in our response brief, Your Honor, was to cite the fact that the defense has identified 55 defense witnesses for mitigation, and I think one was recently added, so we're up to 56, 132 exhibits to use at the mitigation phase. And with respect to the ABA standards, we're not saying the court should completely ignore them, but what we are saying is that the court should look at them for what they are, which is a retrospective tool for appellate courts to look at the performance of counsel after a conviction, not some checklist that needs to be religiously adhered to in order to actually get to trial. Even if the court were to rely on them heavily, though, the charts that we put together show that for each of the ABA guidelines categories that the defense has raised, we have seen evidence in the record that shows that they have witnesses to talk about those issues and they have discovery on those issues themselves. Now, defense has called that superficial, but we would ask the court to look at the tables and look at the witnesses that we've been able to identify for each category and also the discovery in the record. So, Your Honor, again, we think that given the legal standards here on a motion to continue, given the court's discretion, given that we are in a world where the court needs to satisfy itself that defense has done a reasonable job to prepare for trial, there is no basis for a motion to continue. Now, let me turn to some of the specific arguments, and I can take this down, Your Honor, that Ms. Taylor raised. With respect to the media coverage, we acknowledge, as the court has, that will pose challenges for jury selection. The issue, though, is not whether there is a lot of publicity. We know there's going to be a lot of publicity regardless of when this trial happens. As Ms. Taylor said, people will continue to talk about this case. The issue is whether the court, using the procedures it has established, or maybe even modifying them as the court wants to, can seat a panel of impartial jurors. The Supreme Court of Idaho has found that despite widespread publicity, even on the day of jury selection, that is possible. That is possible in this case, despite the challenges. The other thing I would mention with respect to the publicity is that it puts us at the whim of the media. Every time there's a breaking story, every time there's a new book or a new documentary, are we going to continue the trial indefinitely? And that seems to be the danger in what the defense is asking for. We call it a perpetual continuance, and we haven't seen a proposal about when this trial could take place. If there's a continuance, what seems to be the strategy here is just to delay. And that leads me to, I think, the other point that Ms. Taylor raised, which was to say that, this shouldn't be a surprise. It is a surprise to us that a motion to continue was made so late in the game, after, by the way, the trial date was used to oppose an extension that we filed for with respect to our mental health expert. At that point, the defense said we can't possibly go down this road or give the government the state what it wants because of the trial date. Once that issue is resolved, then we get a motion to continue. So I think what we have seen from the defense is that they tried to use the mass amount of discovery to remove the death penalty from the table. When that failed, now we have a motion to continue. So I do think timing is relevant here. Again, and it's not just that the defense waited so long, it's that we now have a very substantial record on which the court can deny this motion based on everything that's been put in front of the state and the court. In terms of the mitigation investigation, Your Honor, we believed but did not have confirmation that the defense had a mitigation specialist until the reply brief on this motion alluded to an affidavit that mitigation specialist submitted. So I don't know what that says. I don't know what the mitigation specialist has said, but the fact that there is a mitigation specialist, apart from the 3 attorneys and 2 investigators that are part of the defense team, that person has one role, as I understand it, which is to prepare for the penalty phase if we get there. And that person, that specialist, has still time to continue doing whatever work they told the court they need to do. Your Honor, again, I would try to get back to the record and ask the court to look at the objective record when evaluating this motion. 55 mitigation witnesses, over 130 exhibits, a very robust team on the defense side, which includes their retained experts. Ms. Taylor, and in the briefing, really honed in on this idea of a social life history for the defendant. I don't know if the court has read the expert reports of the defendant's forensic psychiatrist and then the licensed psychologist. I won't discuss the details in open court, but our position is that both of those specialists, well-trained, very experienced specialists, conducted significant, fulsome life history investigations. They weren't just looking at bare records. They were talking to people from the defendant's past, from his present, his family, and developed parallel life histories. And in their reports, as I read them, no red flags that needed further investigation were noted. Nothing about those reports appeared to be incomplete, and the experts didn't say we are unable to reach the conclusions we need to reach for lack of investigation. So I think that is sort of proof in the pudding. We have a life history for the defendant. The defense has amassed significant materials, and I thought we were going to be solely talking about the mitigation case that still needs to be developed. That is not a basis for a continuance. And to the extent there are ongoing discovery from the state that Ms. Taylor alluded to, I can represent that most of what was just turned over was our investigators speaking with witnesses that the defense has disclosed. So that's the nature of that discovery, is us responding to discovery from the defense. And that will continue, of course, to occur as we lead up to trial and witnesses make statements that we need to disclose to the defense. So with that, Your Honor, I would again rest on the case law holding that a scorch the earth investigation is not what's required. And on the record before the court should exercise its discretion to deny the motion. If the court has any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, we would submit on the record before the court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any reply?
Yes, thank you. I would start with noting that if the new discovery is the state's contact of witnesses we've listed, the state knows that there are mitigation witnesses that we've listed because we had to disclose them, but they are people that have refused to speak with us. That presents a challenge in the case. A lot of the witnesses that refuse to speak with us have to do with records, medical records of Bryan Kohberger, past treatment records of Bryan Kohberger. Those are important things that the gravity of what they have to say can't be known to our experts until we have the opportunity to fully understand those things. And we continue to work on access to witnesses and access to additional information. Your Honor, I want to touch on just a couple of points. One, when the court considers a continuance and considers whether Bryan Kohberger's rights are violated, his right to a fair trial, his right to confront witnesses and evidence against him, his right to present a full defense, and his right to effective assistance of counsel are implicated and laid out in our motion to continue. The ABA guidelines require us to do a full investigation. It's not going scorched earth to understand Bryan Kohberger's full life history. These are things that are required. And we've done everything that we can. We have had a mitigation expert on the case. This is 2.5 years into a case, and the average for capital cases is 3.5 years
In federal court,
in federal court.
which moves at a snail's pace in its best day in regular cases.
I'm not a practitioner in federal court, so I don't have any basis to talk to the court about that. But what I can tell you is that a capital case where we have a client and we need to investigate both the merits phase and a penalty phase at the same time takes time. In any case, it takes time to do that. In this case, with the high-profile nature and having people decline to talk to us presents a whole set of challenges that we have to find a way to work through. As the court knows, a lot of mitigation information is very sensitive information. It takes some time to be able to get people to talk about things. Realities exist too. Not all of the family members are in the same place. So there's travel that's required. All of those things take time to do in a case like this. 2.5 years is excessively fast to put all of that together. There was no delay in having a mitigation expert on board. There was no delay in getting investigators to work on the case. And as soon as issues became apparent, Mr. Kohberger's team did not delay in getting experts to help us understand specific areas of the case. Looking over the entire record, the court can see that the defense team has been diligent about discovery, about motion practice, about litigating issues in the case. There just still is a lot left to do. There is still a lot left that is not known. And Mr. Kohberger has a right to go to trial with prepared counsel that have conducted a full investigation in both phases of the case. When you have a certain amount of information and there's this other stuff that's out there, that's a red flag, that's real, that you need to investigate, your experts can only do what's here, what's been investigated, what's been produced for them to assess. This whole other area, that land between the red flags and the investigation, that's an unknown area. That's where there's ineffective assistance of counsel. That's where there's not a fair trial. That's where there's not an individualized sentencing proceeding. And it's that area that requires a continuance in this case.
All right, I'll take the matter under advisement and get an opinion out in short order. In the meantime, I fully encourage everyone to continue as if the trial is going to take place when it is scheduled for. Again, I reserve the right to write the decision that I come to, but as of now, I would tell you that it's likely you're going to trial on the date indicated. All right, is there any other matters that we need to take up in the public session before we break to go to the private session?
Nothing further in the public session, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, I don't believe so.
All right, we'll take a 10-minute break while the bailiffs clear the courtroom and we set up for the private session.
All rise, please.
Well, there was really nothing there. I mean, nothing that I noticed. I mean, I know I was going back and forth and like trying to see what was going on with Karen Reed. We'll switch over to that for a second too. Karen Reed was just found not guilty on all charges, as at least the 3 that I just saw going around on Twitter, which is wild. But you heard also what Judge Hippler just said, that you might as well just conduct yourselves because this is probably going to happen whenever it's going to happen. I have an issue with the fact that Prime is not, there's not a court order or some sort of, what do they call it, an injunction, something that can be done to stop Prime from putting this information out, especially since the court is literally stating we have people that are witnesses in this damn thing. So what's going on with that? Well, I don't know what the frick is going on with that. I don't understand how that's just allowed to happen. How is that allowed to happen? How are you just allowed to be a witness under a gag order and then you can just be in a documentary that comes out around the day the jury selection is supposed to happen? That's insane to me. That's absolutely insane to me. Okay, let me find where they are actually announcing the information. I saw somebody on Twitter that had a live of like somebody was coming out to the steps. Let me see. Oh, wow. Everything is wild right now. I'll preface with this. I haven't covered this. I watched it a little bit. I know sort of a lot, not a lot. I know sort of a little about what was going on in the beginning. I know that from the very beginning, I had questions about it being Karen Reed because that looks like freaking dog marks. And from what I understood, according to his phone information that I learned from Sleuthy Goosey a long time ago, there was proof his phone, or at least his phone, went up the stairs of the house that he was found in front of. So I've always had questions. I just wasn't really sure. I didn't know if they were going to be able to do anything about it. Plus, I was so enthralled with this case. This isn't so. So right now it looks like they're just waiting. I'm gonna mute this until they show. Are they coming out now? Because it looks like they're trying to get. See if I can find a better feed too. They're trying to get closer to the steps. I want them to come out and talk. But I don't want this chaos of like the streets and shit. Okay, let's do this one. I'll leave it muted for now until someone actually comes out. But yeah, I never talked about it. Now this is going to be like sort of a great precursor to what could possibly happen in this case, because if we're right, which I doubt we are not right, and Bryan Kohberger is really not the guy, then what's about to happen here is going to happen in this case. They're going to have no choice, but now you have to find out who's responsible. Now you have to find out why he has dog marks injuries on his arms and why his phone says what it says, meaning he was inside that house, and how did his body get outside and all the other things. Now the truth has to come out. So if anything, this could literally be step by step what we see happening in Idaho. And I bet you now that all of these people that were over here trying to say that she was guilty and guilty and guilty and guilty, they might want to rethink their stance on the Idaho case. They really might. They really, 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 really might. Oh, I know the stuff about the Turtle Boy stuff. I watch about it on Twitter. On the Twitter. I know. Yeah, let's just wait until somebody comes out and it's like official news. But yeah, according to literally everything, all 3 counts. Let's see if I can find anything else over here, because I was just like trying to get the most updated, latest on Twitter. Okay, let's see. Yeah. All of the charges, because it was just the 3, right? Now, there was some pictures going around that looked like it was like, the actually like jury ballots, but I don't believe that that's true, because I don't think that they would have them that fast unless they just like instantly got handed over to the media, which I freaking doubt. Like, I've been scrolling now for like the entire time that I've been talking, and I'm only 60 seconds into the most recent postings. Okay, let's see. Actually, this guy's talking to the media. I'm curious as to what the humans have to say.
There you go. Woo, woo, woo. Speaks volumes.
That's Vinny's
Young
voice.
children with American flags.
How you feeling right now?
How you doing? What are your thoughts right now?
I'm excited. I'm so happy. I've been waiting for this we all have for a long time. Game over.
This is Massachusetts history. Massachusetts history. We got the justice that we deserve for the O'Keefe family as well. We send our love.
Not really. Not yet. We need the truth. Whoever's responsible for this has not met justice yet.
The last time we had in this town, in this
Vinny's
courthouse,
walking around. I thought it
was
was his
Sacco
voice.
and Vanzetti. Much different scenario. Over here you can see Turtle Boy.
And I'll end up clipping this when this is over. I'll take out this portion of this and I'll put it separately.
There, you see everything. My spot.
All right. All right, we're going to move our spot. We're going up the steps.
The frat. Something related to the university and the frat has and always will be where I think this is supposed to actually be going when it comes to Idaho.
Excuse me, pardon me? Pardon me?
Pardon me.
I'm walking through another
Pardon
sea
me.
of pink. Another sea of pink.
Go ahead and
You did it.
Yeah. All right. This is an interesting perspective. We can turn and look here and what's happening. You can see the crowd and you'll see the reaction when the next big moment happens. The first big moment, obviously.
She did get in trouble for operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol. Okay, well, fair.
And now they're waiting for Karen Reed and her defense team. I know Ted and Julia also standing by. I don't know if Judge Ashley is there as well. But why don't we go to Ted Rollins? Your response.
No. No, I don't want to. Can you do a reaction to the AB and Bryan E video about the DD driver? No, I'm pissed. Because these idiots, like Kevin, whoever the frick his dude is, that's over there, like local or whatever, that writes for the local Idaho Statesman or whatever, they literally took the information that Plunder put out and made that, like everything verbatim that Plunder said about, I saw Bryan, I parked next to his car. That was not said in that freaking video is exactly what all of the mainstream articles are saying. And Fixler, Kevin, stupid ass Fixler. I actually posted on Twitter how much of a shill he is and put in the comments they didn't get this information from anybody. He's not a freaking journalist. He went to YouTube and listened to the most popular videos on the situation and just ran with that instead of doing his own research on anything. Same thing with East Idaho News and now News Nation and all these idiots are out there saying, oh my God, this DoorDash driver saw Bryan. No, she didn't. No, she didn't. Even logistically, if the Linda Lane audio is correct and the DoorDash driver operated like a normal ass DoorDash driver operates, which is mean you get there, you drop it, you leave. I literally ordered DoorDash last night. The dude got here, parked at the end of the street, end of the driveway. I walked down to my driveway, met him at the road, and then walked back to my house. It took all of 30 seconds. There's no way that the DoorDashers stood around forever to where they were able to see anything. And then you want me to believe out of anybody. I don't even give a shit how smart Bryan Kohberger is. Make this anybody with false intentions. You want me to believe that the person or a person drove by the house that he was targeting to go do some cray-cray shit at and literally made eye contact with somebody that saw him driving by as they were walking towards the house. And out of everything else, out of all the other stupidity, that was still go time? No. Ignorant. Anyone who believes that, I'm sorry. No, you probably need to do like an IQ test if you have anything in your brain that makes you think that's even logistically possible. Reality matters. Timing matters. They would have maybe passed each other up on Taylor Avenue, just depending on which way the DoorDash driver actually left the neighborhood. Maybe. But there's no way they could even, tell what kind of car it was, much less see inside. Okay? Not in the middle of the freaking night, 4 o'clock in the morning. No. No. It's just not going to happen. It's just not true. All right, let's see what they have to say here.
Ended their case with those dynamic and powerful expert witnesses, both from both sides, and the amount of money that was spent on this trial on both sides. You had the Commonwealth that spent probably more than $1 million for experts. You had this defense team that raised just as much. And now you have a situation where there's been 2 trials and no conviction. I think that there is going to still continue to be a lot of questions in this case.
Exactly. If some DoorDasher shows up and then sits outside my freaking house for like longer than like a handful of minutes to like check the app, I'm going to get sketched out. I'm going to start wondering, are you writing down my address? Are you trying to see where my cameras are? Are you casing my place? And then I'm going to take my outside with me and confront you. So yeah, no. Okay, it looks like somebody's about to talk. Let's see what they got to say. Or maybe they're just throwing out love signs for no reason. I know that she was doing that. That's like Karen Reed's thing. I noticed in the photos that she does the sign language thingy for I love you. Me and my grandparents used to do
this
that
defendant
together all the
and
time.
this defense team are happy that she's coming home.
Absolutely. I'm taking a look up on the steps. It looks like they may be getting ready. Okay. Let's take a quick break, folks. I'm looking at all these faces. It's jubilation in the streets of Dedham. Our coverage of the Karen.
Okay, so we're gonna mute this until somebody comes back. We're gonna mute this until they come back. Because whenever they come back, they'll be on the steps. Let's see if there's anything else going on Twitter. See, she always does that, like I love you thing. Not guilty, 2nd degree murder. That's so crazy. Like everything, all of the insanity that took place in this case was really interesting. Like, I don't think I've seen people go as insane on a female case since probably Jodi Arias. Because Jodi Arias was after Casey Anthony's case, right? I'm pretty positive. This was wild. I mean, I watched it from the background, but I'm already in a big case. So I wasn't trying to even dip my toes into all of that drama, but I've been watching. I really didn't think they were going to be able to prove that she was guilty. I really didn't. Like even Ariel, she came in here one day. I think we mentioned this in a video before. She came in here one day and I was looking at the crime scene photos that they had released of like his arm. And she instantly was like, oh my God, that was a huge dog. Like even her eyes just barely walking in knew that was an animal attack. That was an animal attack. Have y'all watched this movie right here? I've seen it popping up on Netflix and I've seen like stuff on the shorts about it. It looks really sad. She's such a great actress. Are they back over here yet? It looks like they might be trying to. It's like going in and out over here. So she got 1 year probation for driving under the influence of alcohol. I mean, honestly, I really feel like they probably could have handled that part a long time ago because there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She definitely was driving under the influence. So she's got just 12 months of probation, which isn't a big deal. That's literally nothing. She was definitely guilty of that to her own admission. That's so crazy. Insane. Like they literally could put her at the scene. They literally knew that she was physically there. And even with that, they still knew at the end of the day that she wasn't the one who did it. So I'm really hoping that they take it further because they can't just like not do anything now. I'm really curious. I think at this point, the channel is going to start following more closely the steps taken here. Because like I said, if this is any sort of precursor whatsoever to what might actually happen in the Idaho case, what are the next steps? They've already destroyed the house. what are they going to have to even like do anything with? Any evidence that would have been collected that might actually point towards the real people, if the situation is the way that we think the situation is gone. Because remember, they didn't just demolish the house. They didn't just demolish the house. They took its remains and like chemically evaporated them into nothing. Okay, there's literally not a speck of anything left of that place. So how are they supposed to do anything else? It's just insane. Just insane. We are wrapped with Idaho for today, at least until an order comes out. I'm just staying here because I'm really curious as to what they're going to come out and say about the Karen Reed thing. Okay. Yeah, I was just wanted to see if they had anything else on here. I don't think they're going to have anything when it comes to documents yet. But yeah, we heard what Hippler said. He said it looks like they're going to end up going to trial the date that they already planned to, which again, like, let me pop this up real quick. I'll show you all this part, which is why I don't understand how he's just okay with this shit. I really just don't. Because what date is the Prime thing supposed to come out? Like the 11th or some shit? That's like 10 days. That's like right before the whole thing with the jury selection is supposed to happen. I just don't understand how they can get away with doing that. It's almost like the way that politicians do stuff in the back end with the stock market that they're not supposed to do. To like, you know how they like put laws in place in order to like, or do certain things in order to make certain stocks do certain things up or down. It's the same kind of concept here. They're like putting the information out there that's going to start the drama. Just like back a long time ago, like before the pandemic, and I was,
Do you agree? Yes. Do all of you agree? Yes. Thank you. 002, what say is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty? Not guilty.
Of.
Is not guilty or guilty of that charge or any lesser included charge? Thank you. Specifically, number 5, operating under the influence of liquor by operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. Correct? Yes. So say you, Mr. Foreman? Guilty. So say you all? Yes. Guilty. 003, what say is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? The defendant not guilty or guilty? Not guilty. So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all?
The crowd.
Jurors,
like a concert
verdict
outside.
As the court records it, you upon your oath say the defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and 003 not guilty.
Thank you. Not to cry.
I'll tell you that.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the verdict in the retrial of the century. Karen Reed not guilty of every charge that actually counts, guilty of operating under the influence, everything else not guilty. Right now we're outside the courthouse. The street has been blocked off. You see the officers on the top of the steps. Any moment now, we are expecting Karen Reed and her defense team to come out. The crowd is hungry. They want to see Karen Reed. They've been here for Karen Reed. Now they want to celebrate with Karen Reed. Right now there's a chant of justice for John, which is justice for John O'Keefe.
Right, exactly. What's going to happen now to get justice for the person who lost their life? Because never mind the fact that now they've done all of this and like ruined this woman's life for who knows how long. I mean, obviously she ended up coming out on top of the situation. She's going to end up probably suing the crap out of them. She's going to end up making all kinds of money now, writing books and, you know, and whatever. She deserves that after all of this. And I hope that whenever Bryan gets out, he does the exact same thing, that he goes out and he makes a mockery of all of this bullshit, because this kind of crap right here, this rarely happens where somebody gets this far into what's going on and then they're able to actually walk away. And the fact that this happened with the cop's death, where all of those people are the ones who are usually the ones orchestrating all this stuff, and her people were still able to bring her out of this. This is impressive. This is impressive. concert out there. That's wild.
We can't hear each other, and we're both outside. That's the level of noise here
Yeah,
coming from the folks. I look at some of the faces, a lot of smiling faces. Why are you so happy?
Karen Reed is free. Woo!
Why is that important to you?
I love Karen Reed. We've been following this case for a long time. Freedom for Karen is justice for John. Yeah.
Close, halfway anyway.
What happens next? What happens next?
We get justice for John, because that's what really matters at the end of the day. And freeing Karen Reed means justice for John.
It's just one step.
It's a fevered pitch here outside the courthouse. Someone is walking out of the courthouse right now. Someone's walking out.
Statement.
False alarm.
Nope.
False alarm.
Apparently, there's been lots of false alarms in
It's
this
taken
case.
a
They
while
had
for them
like
to
a
come out.
verdict
It's
watch
an
thing,
emotional
and then
day.
it got
It's
taken
an
back.
emotional
And people were
moment.
like, "Oh!"
Matt Johnson, can you hear me now?
That's part of
It is so loud. Yeah, it is so loud. Matt can't hear me across. Yep. Michael Ayala, there have been emotional trials before. There have been people invested in the outcomes, but it's never been under these circumstances. I'm wondering what you think about what's happening outside the courthouse right now. The chance of justice for John O'Keefe. The chance of lockup Jen, referring to Jennifer McCabe.
Oh, yeah. I know on from Twitter that people don't like her.
Vinny, of the O.J. Simpson case, it just does. I know that's not something people like to talk about, but, you know, the support. Now, he was, of course, a celebrity, so there's something different there. But the support for a defendant, the dislike of the police, which is so palpable in this case. In trying to think, Vinny, about why these people are so behind Karen Reed, I can only think that she just represents all of them. They all have issues with the police out there, the corruption, the culture. She represents all of them, all the problems they've had over the years. And now it's come to this point, and they're just letting that emotion show.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to sneak in a quick break. When we come back on continuing coverage of the verdict in the retrial of the century, Karen Reed basically being set free today.
Yeah, it's a good question. If they're going to people are going to backtrack now that the truth is coming out. I mean, if Bryan is found guilty, if something comes out in trial, I'm not going to pretend like it's not there. We're going to follow it where it goes. And if he turns out to be the guy, then we're going to take all of this and we're going to go to that side of the fence, because this is how this is going to work. But are they going to do that for the opposite? The ones that have guilty, 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 guilty. Now that this is it for Karen Reed, are they going to come out and change their minds? Are they going to come out and be like, damn, I had it wrong? That's crazy. Is it going to make them rethink the way that they come out and go crazy again? Probably not. Probably not. Just like with the whole Buddy the dog thing, I've yet to see anybody, and y'all have already told me before, I think in the last live I did, no one that has put Bryan Kohberger as the guy that did those horrible things to that little baby dog, well, not baby dog, but that little bitty tiny dog, has come out now that the truth is out and retracted it, changed their opinion, because now they don't have a lead up they can pin on him. The dog is irrelevant. That's not who he practiced on anymore, according to their theories. It's just gross that they can't even do it one piece at a time. That's how we have to do this, one piece at a time. We've done knock that piece out. So all the guilters need to change it. Good question. I don't know. They didn't say anything. I know I've got something to say. Said that Eliza was in federal court this morning. So I don't know where Jennings was. I don't know where she was. What do I need to look at? If he has evidence against him, then he is guilty. It's simple. Yeah, if there's something that they can actually prove without me being able to instantly doubt something, cool, we'll go that way. Okay. Yeah, we'll go that way. But so far, that's just not the thing. Twizzle took Jennings. Well, I'd hope not, because kidnapping is not okay. Again, you telling me Ashley Jennings has children? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah, I noticed Twizzy wasn't there. Yeah, that's what we're waiting on. Something solid. That's what we're waiting on. Come on, come back and tell us something. Come back and tell us something. Just waiting. Oh, and for those of you that are in here following the Lily and Jack Sullivan thing, the grandmother on the biological father's side did an interview I saw yesterday. I'm going to do a reaction video to listening to that later. But since you know what? I don't think we're going to go live tonight to talk about this because nothing really awesome came out about anything. The only thing that we heard is that the state has a massive gaslighter on their side and Jennings wasn't there. There was no nuggies of anything. So we probably won't go live tonight. I'll probably do the Lily and Jack Sullivan grandma review tonight is probably what I'll do. And then tomorrow I'll drop the video that has like the full length video of the license plate thing with the guy and the report and all the things about what the AI saw and stuff with the paint flakes and stuff. I'll put that one out tomorrow. Yeah. Oh, yes. Let me rewrite that one down. I have it in my notebook, but let me put it in my face. I'm going to do that this weekend. Actually. Okay. Yeah. No, I have it right there. Ooh. Are we on the steps yet?
Welcome to downtown
Maybe.
Dedham. Not guilty, Karen Reed, and she's about to exit the courthouse. This moment will speak for itself.
There she goes. He's probably like bewildered by all the people in the streets. Can you imagine how it's going to feel when she actually gets to go home and sit down? Once her body hits that couch, she's going to like fall apart. I have a feeling it's going to all hit her.
The Celtics won the NBA title last year. On the Friday last year, they had the parade. Now, a whole different ball.
The microphone's just not me on. Getting yourself proven innocent if you're truly innocent is how you finally lead to justice. You're not wrong.
No, the case cannot be reopened. This case is over. No, I mean, the case is searching for someone else. What did you say? I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it to Karen. Let her dad. Let her dad.
Yeah, what are the next steps now? Where does the investigation go?
I want to acknowledge the strength of our daughter Karen, the support of the entire extended family. I want to acknowledge the greatest team of attorneys. Our first one that we found was David Yannetti. We added Alan Jackson and Liza Little. Bob Alessi, you know about. All right. It was a fantastic team, but we needed them all to defeat this. We thank everybody for their support from the heart. We love you all of the content providers who help spread the word.
Oh, look at that. They appreciate the people that talk about the case. And that's her dad.
Karen, what is life like going to be for you now? Karen.
Damn, this is wild.
Karen. Karen, what is life going to be like for you now? How do you feel? What is life going to Let's get her in the car.
Yeah, this basically means what, that cops are responsible for his death?
You okay? You okay? You okay?
If you go back to the people that, you know, are part of this whole thing. Yeah, I honestly have a little bit of goosebumps too. Like, this is wild. It's interesting whenever you see things apparently work the way they're supposed to.
Unbelievable moment. Unbelievable moment. The swarm of pink is now moving from the front of the courthouse down towards the SUVs as Karen Reed and her defense team settle into this moment. Settle into an unusual moment in our system of criminal justice. A not guilty verdict in a murder trial. It doesn't happen often, folks. It really doesn't. When you accuse prosecutors and law enforcement of a conspiracy, it is rare that a jury believes that is reasonable.
Yeah.
It just happened in this case.
Can we get these jurors over there to Delphi,
please? It was
please?
about trying to prove a case beyond a reasonable doubt and a jury finding reasonable doubt in every criminal charge that mattered in this case. Operating under the influence is the only one that they found her guilty of. Matt Johnson on the street as well. Matt.
Bringing this to the forefront.
Yes, I can tell you that we just got a comment from Mr. Reed. He's making his way to his SUV as they're all making their way out of this situation after the verdict. And he was saying that he was thankful to all the supporters and thankful to the media for drawing attention to this case. Dominated this community for more than 3 years. As for Karen Reed, I was really trying to get a comment for her about what life will be like now that she is no longer a murder defendant. She had no comment. I asked her probably 4 or 5 times. She did not make any comment
let's just
other than
keep
what she said at the
bothering the
podium,
shit out of
really
her while
thanking
she's
her
still in
supporters
shock.
out
How
here,
about we just
and
leave her
also
alone?
thanking, all of the media that have been out here and her defense team that have been working on this for the past 3 years, and then she's added to that for this second trial, adding Pro Vice Robert Alessi, and also
Some people
adding
spend decades in there for
a
shit they
former
didn't
juror
do.
to her team, a lot of interns that were also researching and doing a lot of work behind the scenes from Harvard University. This defendant waving and making the love symbol in sign language as she drives past all of the media and drives out of this courthouse after being. You can see the sea of pink out here, all of these supporters. Many of them were in tears during this process when they were reading the verdict and cheering, and just jubilation from these supporters that always believed that she was innocent. I'll send it back to you.
Unbelievable scene. It's like, now what happens? What happens next?
Yeah, what happens next?
Right?
Great question.
The rush of adrenaline, unreal. We'll be back.
Aloe vera.
Tonight on Closing Arguments, it's verdict watch in the Karen Reed retrial.
It's not verdict watch anymore, though. It's over and done. Okay. Wow. What a day. Holy crapazoles. What a freaking day. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. I'm going to get off of here. I will end up going in and downloading this live and separating it out for the Bryan Kohberger hearing and then the portions of this that we watched. I am going to start watching the Karen Reed situation. That's no longer the Karen Reed situation. We can now bring it back to it's the John O'Keefe situation because that got taken away for a while. Justice for him is what's important. Okay. So all those people that were sitting there on the stand that were covering their asses, all of the lies that they just told under oath are now going to be exposed if the investigation does what the investigation is supposed to do, which is solve the murder of John O'Keefe. So it'll be really interesting to see how this plays out. We're going to start tracking this. We are going to start tracking this. Yeah, that's basically what I've always figured. I figured he walked into the house. There was some sort of altercation to where he physically went after the guy. I don't know his name. The male from in the house. I know Jen's name, but I don't know the male's name. He physically attacked him. So the dog attacked John. Everything went crazy. Somehow he ended up dead. Or maybe he wasn't even dead whenever he was put outside. I don't know what his cause of death is. I'm guessing it's out there. Put a 1 in the chat if his actual cause of death is already out there, because that's something that I'm going to go and look for when it comes to all this stuff. But something happened in that house, because I'm telling you right now, Sleuthy came out. Like, I think she told me this either specifically in like a back chat, or she posted this on her page. Maybe it was both, because I asked her something at some point a while back about this case. Anyway, his phone information says it shows that it went up and down the stairs. The same way that we have in the Delphi case with the phone showing that it went up in like the incline, certain amount of feet or whatever, that the data, okay? They've been trying to say this whole time he never went inside, that she hit him with the car, he never even made it to the front door, ba-da-da-da-da. Not true. Not true. It was never true. It was never true. That was a dog attack marks on that man's arm, and his phone showed he was in that house. Those are the two things that have always stuck out and been super important to me. So I'm glad it went this way. I'm glad that it went this way, because it needed to go this way for us to get some sort of hope that maybe things are going to go right. That maybe if you try hard enough, and maybe if you make enough fuss, and maybe if you get enough eyes in the world to look at things, it'll make a difference. Because there's no way that this jury didn't know anything about this case whenever they went in. They're just like, I know for a fact, there's no way that the majority of the jury that gets put on this case isn't going to have heard of this at some point. There's just no way. So we're going to keep track of what happens now. Because now, what's the next moves to get to the true justice for this cop that lost his life at the hands of most likely another cop? We're going to find out. But I'm going to go ahead and get all of this done and over with. I don't think we're going to go live tonight. Like I said, I really don't think we're going to go live tonight. I'm going to do the reaction to the grandma of Jack and Lily talking. Somebody else in here mentioned something about Travis Decker. A head injury. Head injury was cause of death. Okay. Somebody in here said, what about Travis Decker? He's still on the run. Okay, I'm going to block this I call BS person, because I don't know what the hell is up their butt today, but I'm not in the mood. I'm really just not in the mood. So I blocked them. I don't have time for that. They're arguing with people for literally no reason, saying you're trying to shut me up or some other. They're arguing with people. I don't know what the frick the problem is. I don't even know. I haven't even addressed anything that they've been saying until now, and I'm not going to be doing all this kind of stupid shit. You're not going to come in here arguing and like doing this. Like, we've been chill. That's why I don't have moderators, because we act like freaking adults here. So anyway, okay. I'm going to go finish my grocery shopping for my pickup order, do the rest of the little errands and budget thingies and da-da-da-da-da. But when it comes to Travis Decker, he is still on the run. Now, I put a video out yesterday of the mayor speaking. I have 2 more videos that I'm going to put out. I guess I'll go ahead and put one out at some point today, maybe, and maybe the other one tomorrow. They were recorded yesterday along with the one that I did put out, but it's like the crime scene photos. That's not really crime scene photos, because we don't really, I guess they really are crime scene photos. It's like the campground. I'll say this. The photo it shows of the tent with like the cooler in front of it, it's very Cabela's catalog-ish. It's odd, but anyway, there also is a court clip of the September hearing where he lost overnight visitation, which tells me that he basically went into the military after the divorce for another year and then got out in December of 2023, which is the exact same time that I moved where I am now. Meaning that in the year and a half that I've been in this location is the exact same amount of time Home Dude had after he got out the military to get sufficient adult things going. He like chose to just never find a place to live and just stay homeless and go to campgrounds and all this other stuff. Since he got out in December of 2023, it's being mentioned in September of 2024. The judge doesn't like that he doesn't have anywhere stable to take the kids. And it's been a thing the entire time. Like, I'm sorry, you just chose to not. There's like so many places that help people get housing. And even if you weren't trying to do like the military, let me, use my military thing to get into here. You have a job, unless you have some sort of horrible background that they've been keeping from us, then there's no reason for you not to have had a place to live. It was like just years of just stuff that was like, and that's what ended up happening. How is the man still not found? Exactly. How do we find This dude who went and took out a bunch of Democratic politicians within 48 hours in a field somewhere, but we can't find home dude with helicopters and heat-seeking stuff and weeks of searching. I know. My dad is a Vietnam vet, and he basically said they're not going to take this guy alive. Even if they do end up fighting him out in the bush somewhere, he's not going to just like surrender. He doesn't think that even if they find him that they're not going to be, you know, they're going to have to pop him one, is basically how he put it, which probably isn't false, because there's something wrong with this fella. Definitely something wrong. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this now. I have 1,000 things to do, then I'll get that other stuff up. I'm going to go ahead and not even roll all of my things, since I'm going to be downloading this, reclipping this, all of the things. Thank you so much for watching this with me, and then sticking around to watch the Karen Reed thing, even though we really haven't been following it here. This might be a great precursor to what's going to end up happening in Idaho. So like I said, we're going to keep track of all of this. You guys have a great rest of your day. Let me go through the thank yous. Thank you for rejoining, Lori. Thank you for becoming a member, Angie. Thank you for the $3, Linda. Oh, you did it twice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for rejoining, Grandma. 8 months. That's awesome. Shenanigans. And 4 months, which is also awesome, for MDP. Thank you for the $2 shenanigans. And 3 months, Jennyville. That's crazy too. I know. I love how whenever y'all like show me how many months y'all have been here, it's always so cool to see. And 7 months, I've got something to say. That's crazy too. And Mikey for 9 months. No baby oil and freak offs. I know. I've been keeping track over on Rotten Mango, but I don't have any want to speak about that case. Because okay. I'm going to close this off. You guys have a super great day. I'll see you later. See y'all.